Welcome back to Cap to 40 suggestions and more. This is gonna be for the game week of 428, as you can see here on the game week. We'll be going again to bring to you guys Cap to 40 suggestions and Cap to 20 suggestions only this time. No best scorers, because I think it will be a very, very tough matchup, and I don't believe that the players will be getting high enough scores for a very good lineup like an all-star. Now I'm gonna do it a bit differently than to the last video, because I'm not gonna give you guys a full team for the competitions, but instead I'm just going to talk and scroll through the players that are playing and tell you more about the teams, analyze the teams, and analyze which players could be doing well, and you guys can make your own choices then for which ones you want to play. I think for this game week, because most of the teams do have a tough matchup, I believe this is more useful than me showing you guys a full team, and also like this you can get more players than just one team, because I'm gonna be analyzing most of the players. Now let's get into it. We're starting with the goalkeepers. First, a bit on the games themselves. 4 of the 5 teams do have a very tough matchup. Genk is playing away to Fiorentina. Antwerp is playing away to Shakhtar Donetsk. Club Brugge is playing away to Besiktas. And then Union playing away to Toulouse. Now, you can from the start see that Anthony Maurice and Maarten van der Voort have the lowest L15 of the keepers. However, these, in my opinion, are not that likely to keep a clean sheet. I think Maurice might be keeping a clean sheet, but Union have had it very hard keeping a clean sheet this season for the whole season, so I don't think you should take them. The one I would suggest to you most from this week is Nardi, because I believe that Roof will be playing from now on the league games, and that Nardi will be playing the European games. However, if Nardi plays on Sunday against Union, I would be taking Roof, because Nardi will then still be the league keeper. But in my opinion, Nardi the best choice, because not that high of an L15, and a very easy game of Gent against Zoria Luhansk. Now, second option I would think is a better option than the others is Mignolet. Still a very tough game. I don't believe he will be keeping a clean sheet, but I don't believe that any of the players apart from the Gent boys will be having a clean sheet. So first Nardi, second option I would say Mignolet for this game week. Now let's get over to the defenders. Actually, I would be saying the same. I would focus mostly on the Gent defenders, because they will probably have the highest chance of having a clean sheet, and therefore getting those 10 extra points, which are very useful, especially for a cap to 40 threshold team. And actually, all of the central defenders from Gent are all pretty good for this. Kandus, Watanabe, and Torunariga, all 3 of them do have a decently low L15 around 50, which is perfect for cap to 40. So if you want a higher L15 player for defender, take one of them. If you decide I want to go lower than 50, then you can be going for one of the players from Union, because they will have a lot of work against Toulouse. As always, against tough opponents, Union will be playing pretty defensively. So I believe that Machida and McAllister could also be very decent options if you want to go for a lower end defender. However, I do also think that Genk defenders can score pretty well, because they're playing against Fiorentina, which will be a very tough matchup with a lot of defensive actions. So the defenders in Sadiq, mostly because he's guaranteed to play this game, as he hasn't played against Standard. And then I think you could also be focusing on Kayembe, because he will probably be playing the midweek, as Arteaga also again played against Standard on the midweek. I would not be focusing on Club Brugge defenders, as they are not that very good for getting high scores. Only if you have like a Brendan Mechelen or De Kuiper, you could be selecting them, but they have a bit of a too high L15 for cap to 40 or cap to 20. Let's go over to the midfielders. So, conclusion on the defenders. Gent are the best, and then below that, you could go for either Union or Genk defenders, as I believe they will get decently high scores as well. But preferring Gent. I'm going to say the same again for the midfielders. If you can, get Gent defenders in, but they do have pretty high L15s. Now, Hong is injured, so don't be choosing him, as he probably won't play. You can go for Samwas. He has been playing a bit better lately. He has been getting a little higher scores lately, and could be doing very well against Luhans, could be getting an assist or a goal in this game. Now, Jules Hager is either Jules Hager or Pieter Gerkens is going to play this game, or maybe even both, because of the Hong injury. So you could be going with one of them, and personally, I think Jules Hager has a higher chance to start than Gerkens, but they could also be starting both. Secondly, I would probably have a look at Van Houten or Amani. They will have a decent score for the 240. They will probably get like a 55 or something around that. Now, two others you could have a look at are Onyedika and Vetlesen from Brugge, especially Vetlesen because of his really low L15. He could be doing well against Besiktas. He could get a lot of AA. The last two games he played before Leuven were both above 60 points without a decisive, so around 30 AA points, which is very decent, especially good enough for a cap to 40 threshold team. So definitely take a look at Vetlesen as well, and also Onyedika, could also have a look at him if you think that Vetlesen is a bit too expensive. Now, finally, let's go look at the forwards. Again, the same thing here. Gent is probably going to be scoring 3 or 4 goals in this game. So if you have the possibility, put in Tissoudali, put in Kuipers, and especially put in Orban, as he will probably be the one that's going to be starting this game, because Hein does rotate a lot. They don't have a lot of rotation options, but Orban is one of them, and he will probably be starting this game. You can take Kuipers, you can take Tissoudali, because even if they come off the bench, they will be scoring or assisting for some goals. Now, others I would have a look at are actually basically all of the other strikers from the other teams, apart from Union. Because Union have so many strikers, so many especially very good strikers, that it's very hard to predict who is going to play. And the better strikers do have pretty high L15 averages, or are not too sure to start, like Jerai Eckert. Amoura will probably be starting, but again, the chance of players starting and is such a mess that it's probably not worth it. Now, the 3 strikers from the other 3 teams are probably worth looking at. Especially Janssen and Jupiler will probably be starting. They are the starters. There's not many rotation possibilities here. Janssen can always score in any game. He's such a good striker. However, has been struggling this season and way to Shakhtar Donetsk. I can see Antwerp not scoring at all in this game. Now, Schüttler with Brugge, I can see scoring. I can see Brugge scoring 1 goal or 2 goals. Depends on how the game goes, but with his L15 it's so low, it's definitely worth it, because you can play better players in the other positions with such a low L15. Now, then the final 2 I would have a look at are Tulu Ahokodare and Ande Zekiri. Zekiri did play against Standard, so I believe that it will be Ahokodare who is going to be playing this game. I don't believe he will score, but he could be scoring, because it's just such a dangerous striker who can just score from the most random cross out there. So I definitely think it's worth looking at, just because of the low L15 on both Tulu and Zekiri. However, again, it is pretty risky because we don't know which of the two will be playing. So that's it for me for this week. I hope that was useful for you guys. But again, sorry, it is a very tough game week to be selecting good players from the Jupiler Pro League for the cap divisions. Now, if I wanted to look at my personal team, I'm going to show that quickly because it could be useful for you guys to see what you could play. For Cap 240 in Gaming 428, I have chosen this team with Buté, with Castro Montes, with Heinen, with Jutgla, and Bataille. The captain I haven't selected here because I'm not out of it, who I think is going to be playing out of them. But this is the team I will personally play because I also don't have lots of players with low L15s for the defensive positions. But this is what I'm going to play, if it's going to be useful for you guys. Again, I don't believe that Buté is going to keep a clean sheet, but he has a pretty low L15, which is why I chose him. But this is what I chose. Again, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. And I will see you in the next video, which will probably be out on Wednesday for the weekend games of 429. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be my lineups for the next game week. See you then.